Disaster at Ground Zero, the quake in Taiwan, thousands dead and missing. Tonight, the race against time for those still trapped, plus in-depth fault lines. The experts try, but can anyone really predict earthquakes? Lifeline, Good Samaritans who donate parts of their own bodies to save total strangers. Why would anyone take this risk? And to the rescue, the heroes working overtime to save the most helpless victims of Hurricane Floyd.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening in Taiwan tonight. The news only gets worse. A cataclysmic earthquake has shattered that island nation, sending 100,000 people into the streets, trapping thousands more in the rubble, and leaving a death toll that climbs with every hour. Taiwanese officials say it's hard to get an overall picture of the fatalities. Taiwan is right in the middle of the Pacific earthquake zone, and this one, even more powerful than the earthquake in Turkey, is a monster. NBC's George Lewis tonight is in Taiwan.
This is Ground Zero, Nantung, 90 miles south of the capital, Taipei. Huge apartment buildings toppled, the death toll at least 1,700, and it keeps rising. At least 3,000 missing, feared trapped in the rubble. Is anybody in there? This man shouts. It is a cry echoing throughout the devastated areas. The search right now is frantic because rescuers know for survival the first 72 hours are critical. After that, chances of saving people buried beneath the crushed concrete and steel go way down. Many survivors, though, are in shock.
I couldn't save my family buried under the rubble.
There was no time to react at all. All of a sudden, the lights blinked a couple of times and then the wall fell off. I was asleep, and then there was a big quake. I was so scared and held on to my mother.
The force of the quake, measuring 7.6 on the Richter scale, ripped huge cracks in roads, making it tough for rescue workers in their race to get to the hardest-hit areas. Doctors at overwhelmed hospitals put out a frantic call for more medical personnel. But at last report, many hospitals are still waiting for help to arrive. In Nantou County, the epicenter of the quake, 100,000 people are homeless. The morgues are full, and county officials are putting out an urgent call for body bags and freezers to handle all the corpses. Nightfall did not stop the search and rescue efforts, but some of them were futile. Here at this toppled hotel in Taipei, the authorities have pretty much given up hope of finding anyone else alive. They say if there were survivors in the rubble, they probably perished when the building caught fire, filling the area with smoke and flames. But every once in a while, there is new reason for hope. Rescuers pulling a survivor out. And that's what a lot of Taiwanese are clinging to right now, a little bit of hope in all this devastation. George Lewis, NBC News, Taipei, Taiwan.
At the time of the earthquake, a number of Americans were in Taipei, which is the capital, part of a delegation from various states on a trade mission. One of them was Dr. Jack Riggs. He's an Idaho state legislator who is trained as an emergency room physician. Dr. Riggs and what he went through tonight in his own words.
The power was out, communications were very sketchy. We started to hear that there was a building that had collapsed within a mile of our hotel. I felt rather than sit and do nothing that with my training as an emergency room physician that I may be some help. And unfortunately, this hotel basically collapsed. And what we see is that the 9th floor is down at street level, meaning that the lower 8 floors basically were crushed. By that time, fire had broken out and the smoke was very dense. When I arrived, I talked to the local doctors that were in charge of the medical response, and they estimated that they had contact with about 8 to 10 individuals that they knew were still alive. And the estimates at that time that there were probably 100 people that were trapped and probably in very bad condition because they were on the lower floors. So talking to those doctors, I stayed for a while. There were no more obvious survivors at that time. For years, I've seen pictures of people in various locations, most recently in Turkey, digging through rubble, looking for survivors. I think the reality that you see when you actually experience this is what will stay with me.
Dr. Jack Riggs, an Idaho state legislator and a trained emergency room physician tonight, in his own words from Taipei. This earthquake comes at a time of great tension between Taiwan and China, which of course claims that Taiwan is really a part of China. The first offers of help from Beijing today were modest, but the Clinton administration hopes the disaster will help ease the political tensions. Here's NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
Can anything good come out of such devastation? That is the question U.S. officials are asking tonight as China, Taiwan's mortal enemy, pledges emergency aid. China's President Jiang Zemin offers sympathy and, even more important, help from China's Red Cross.
They've already sent $60,000 worth of emergency supplies and $100,000 in cash to the Taiwan Red Cross.
And behind the scenes, another positive sign. China does not block UN efforts today to mobilize worldwide relief. Rescue teams from Russia, Japan, Germany, Switzerland, Austria.
I think it's a very positive step in an hour of human tragedy for all countries, including China, to step forward and provide the kind of help that is appropriate.
But would Taiwan accept help from its archenemy? Tonight, Taiwan tells NBC News it will.
We think at this time we should put politics aside. It is a humanitarian effort. It is a life-saving effort.
Still, experts say China should do much more.
What you really need is a gesture that goes well beyond this. As I say, a personal emissary, calling off any kind of military confrontation while this earthquake is being dealt with.
For months, China has offered Taiwan threats, not sympathy, after Taiwan said it was a separate state, not part of China. Only 3 years ago, China fires live ammunition at Taiwan's beaches, a military exercise against what it views as a rebel province.
This is really a family feud in a very dysfunctional family. And I think it's going to take a lot more than an earthquake to bring them together.
The real test will come once Taiwan puts itself back together and again faces the overwhelming power of China only 1 mile away. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News at the State Department.
More on fault lines when we come back. NBC News in depth tonight. They can predict tornadoes and hurricanes. What about earthquakes?
As of right now, I don't know of anyone in the world that can scientifically predict or forecast earthquakes.
On shaky ground, trying to prepare for something as elusive and unpredictable as an earthquake. That's tonight's In Depth. Lifeline tonight, the ultimate sacrifice. Would you give up an organ to a total stranger?
Keys are in it.
The Accord V6 Coupe from Honda. It's one powerful car.
Now an important tool to defend yourself against heart disease and some cancers is in your hands. Because now studies confirm that eating whole grain foods like Total, Wheaties, and Cheerios as part of a low-fat diet may reduce your risk of heart disease and certain cancers. Most cereals are not whole grain, but all of these from General Mills are. Look for this seal to be sure and help defend yourself against heart disease and cancer.
Do you use the same corn pads your grandmother used? Well, there's a breakthrough. Band-Aid brand corn relief cushions.
It covers the whole corn, relieving the awful, painful pressure.
Plus, it's more comfortable than your old pad, and it stays in place better. After all, it's from Band-Aid brand.
Band-Aid brand cushions for feet. A breakthrough in corn pain relief.
For blister prevention, calluses, and bunions, try the line of Band-Aid brand cushions for feet.
Fortunately, there's Nasonex nasal spray, an effective nasal allergy prescription medicine taken once a day to relieve nasal allergy symptoms, indoors and out. Now that's wonderful. The most common side effects were headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleed.
Neo tonight at 6 on Northwest News Channel 8. Parents in Lake Oswego want to X out cyberporn at the library. Will the city take hardcore sites offline? Tonight at 6 on Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
The countdown to 2000 in Pioneer Courthouse Square has begun.
NBC News in depth tonight, shockwave, staging an earthquake. How one city is trying to prepare for what could be the big one. Since 1987, there have been almost 200,000 recorded earthquakes around the world, causing more than 100,000 deaths. Now, in Seattle, a simulated earthquake as scientists try to zero in on this deadly threat. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell tonight begins our reporting from Seattle in depth.
A blast before dawn near Seattle this morning. A man-made earthquake of sorts. Explosives set off deep in the ground. An experiment to generate seismic waves so scientists can track a potentially deadly threat that runs under Seattle. A fault zone across the city. A danger to the Pacific Northwest scientists are just beginning to understand. The last killer quake in this area more than 30 years ago.
We realize now that the earthquake risk in Seattle is much greater than previously believed, kind of on par with San Francisco and Los Angeles.
To track that risk, a team of 80 government and university researchers planted explosives up to 150 feet underground across a 60-mile path. Today, 10 explosions set off.
3, 2.
Last year, another series of blasts offshore. The shockwaves, much like the force of an earthquake, let researchers see how the ground reacts. Data collected at 1,000 sites across Seattle, even in backyards where portable stations measure the shaking.
It's kind of like taking a CAT scan of the Earth or a sonogram of the Earth.
Seattle's risk made worse because the city sits atop a 37-mile-wide basin. Here, the energy from an earthquake is expected to bounce off the basin walls, trapping the force. That means the shaking could last longer. Instead of just seconds, an earthquake could last a minute or more.
I don't think anyone would be surprised by a greater than magnitude 6 on the Seattle fault in the next 20 or 30 years, or even tomorrow.
So Seattle sending shockwaves tonight in a race with an uncertain deadline, but a danger all too real. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Seattle.
But even with all the charts and the graphs and the seismic counters that track the shifting ground beneath us, predicting an earthquake is impossible. What makes an earthquake so unpredictable? What can be done to save lives? NBC's Robert Hager now, continuing in depth.
A single earthquake can unleash the power of 10,000 atom bombs. But unlike hurricanes or many other natural disasters, researchers just can't tell when an earthquake will occur. Waverly Person heads the U.S. government's Earthquake Information Center in Colorado.
I don't know of anyone in the world that can scientifically predict or forecast earthquakes.
Scientists do know the most vulnerable places. In this NASA illustration, the yellow dots represent known earthquakes through history. Makes it easy to see how they concentrate along fault lines, like this one in Asia where the Taiwan quake hit, and how the fault lines are really the edges of huge plates that make up the outer crust of Earth. The edge of one plate passes through California, right where most U.S. quakes have been. But not all. A huge one flattened much of Charleston, South Carolina in 1886, and an even bigger one devastated Missouri in 1811. And geologists believe there were many other big ones centuries earlier. That one along Missouri's New Madrid Fault caused the Mississippi River to flow backward and church bells to ring as far away as Boston. So if earthquakes can hit anywhere, can we make structures earthquake-proof? Architect Roger Lewis explains the problem.
What happens is the building stays still and the ground moves like that, as if on roller skates.
Normally, we build to withstand vertical forces, the weight of people and furniture. But the stress of an earthquake is horizontal. In a laboratory, researchers can replicate the motion of an earthquake until the joints break and a structure collapses in a pile of debris. The trick is to design more flexible joints that give slightly under side-to-side motion and don't snap.
It has to be flexible enough to absorb the whiplash, or the way a tree absorbs the energy of wind blowing it over, but it has to be rigid enough, stiff enough, so that it doesn't bend too far.
In fact, many areas of the U.S. are trying to build for earthquakes now.
Beyond California, there are earthquake-proofing programs in Washington State, in Oregon, in Utah, in Illinois, and South Carolina.
Odds of a quake may be slim in most places, but with ability to predict practically non-existent, no one can tell when or if the next big one is going to hit. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Up next, how did Hillary Clinton's brothers find themselves in the middle of a political fight in a former Russian republic? Some answers from the man in charge. And the misery of Hurricane Floyd. It's not confined to people. How are the animals holding up in the flood zone?
Oh yeah, I'm on a seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. But thanks to Healthy Choice, I've got a nutritional guardian angel. Like the roast chicken. All the fixins, only 6 grams of fat. What is that, like a sit-up? Healthy Choice. Figured it out. Chicken breast, smothered in a mushroom wine sauce, veggies, so fresh tasting, they bite back. It's a plate full of good eating. There's no room for extra salt and fat. Choose Healthy Choice. How easy is that?
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
This is a court-ordered legal notice. If you own a house, mobile home, or other structure that contains polybutylene pipe with plastic or metal insert fittings, you may be entitled to free replacement of your plumbing if it has leaked or leaks in the future. The plumbing must have been installed between January 1st, 1978 and July 31st, 1995. Call 1-800-392-7591 for information about your legal rights, including your right to exclude yourself from this class action settlement if you purchased your structure after August 21st, 1995.
Mentadent's new Surround toothbrush isn't for everyone, just people who think every tooth deserves special attention. Its outer base moves while its bristles wrap and surround teeth for a clean so complete you can feel it. New Mentadent Surround, meant to be different.
Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
You drag it, you bat it, drives you mad, but you can't get at it.
Say goodbye to dirt, dust, and hair with the new Pledge Grab It Sweeper and Claws. Because Pledge Grab It Claws are electrostatically charged to grab the stuff brooms and vacuums may miss.
You want to nab it, go on and grab it, so fast and light it could become a habit. Grab it!
And get rid of dirt, dust, and hair for good. New Pledge Grab It Sweeper and Claws.
Grab it!
Friday, the last summer concert of the year, live outside Studio 1A, Sting, brought to you by the incredible edible egg, only on Today. It's like Today, only later. Later today, weekdays on NBC.
Here in New York today, in his annual address to the United Nations, President Clinton told the General Assembly the U.S. cannot respond to every humanitarian catastrophe in the world, but he did challenge the international community to do more to prevent the kind of violence that has ravaged in places like Kosovo and East Timor, where today UN peacekeepers got a rousing welcome at a refugee camp housing some of the tens of thousands who fled the bloodshed in East Timor's capital. Also warnings this week about ethnic violence in his part of the world from Edward Shevardnadze, who helped break up the Soviet Union as Mikhail Gorbachev's foreign minister. Now he's president of the Republic of Georgia and struggling with ethnic violence and also for a time with the brothers of Hillary Clinton. We have a report that Mrs. Clinton's brothers, Hugh and Anthony Rodham, have been working with your political opposition in an attempt to get some economic advantage for themselves in exporting Georgian products. Is that true?
Well, it seems to me that they didn't know who they were dealing with.
Did you call the White House to complain about their activities?
Well, certainly there was an exchange of information. But not me.
Someone
state is a state.
State to state. But do you think that it's appropriate for the brothers of the First Lady of the United States to be doing business in your country with your political opposition?
But my opponent took advantage of that situation, and he falsely, wrongly announced that the American administration was supporting him. That's why, business should not be politicized.
Health news tonight in this country. The FDA has approved the first new antibiotic to come to market in 30 years. It's considered a crucial weapon in the fight against drug-resistant bacteria. Hundreds of thousands of people suffer from drug-resistant infections every year. This new medicine is called Sinercid. It may save thousands of lives. Not a lifeline in what could be a new trend in medicine in this country, a surprising trend to some because it involves tremendous generosity and no small measure of risk for a total stranger. NBC's chief science correspondent is Robert Bazell, and he has more now.
An extraordinary sacrifice for a total stranger. Joyce Roush, a 45-year-old nurse, risked her life to donate her kidney to someone she had never met.
This was an opportunity for me to do something right now that could help someone. The cost was very minimal to me for a very big gain.
The recipient, 13-year-old Christopher Bienick, known as Bear to family and friends, who was told he would need dialysis for years until he could get a new kidney.
I was surprised because they said it takes 5 to 6 years to get one.
It was like a miracle that she came along.
Living organ donations are becoming increasingly common. Last year, more than 4,000 people gave kidneys to family members, friends, or co-workers, accounting for almost a third of kidney donations. The others came from cadavers. More than 100 people donated pieces of their liver. But giving to strangers is a new twist. Roush and an unidentified woman from Minnesota are the first to offer kidneys to strangers. In April, Ken Schuler gave a piece of his liver to Deborah Parker, whom he saw for the first time on television, appealing for a donation.
I kept thinking, why would somebody, a complete stranger, want to do this for me?
It's like standing on a riverbank, and if you see somebody drowning, you can't just stand there.
But the donations can be very risky. NBC News has learned that 2 perfectly healthy people died recently during surgery to donate parts of their liver to relatives. And many ethicists worry that live donations open the possibility of an illegal trade in body parts where people buy organs.
The more you turn to living donors, the more you're going to see that happen, no matter what efforts are made to screen it out.
For Ken Schuler and for Joyce Roush, the reward has nothing to do with money.
That's a wonderful feeling to know that in some small way I made a difference in someone's life.
Not just a difference, but a second chance at life itself from a total stranger. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
On Wall Street today, stocks took a tumble as a soaring trade deficit, a weak dollar, and some shaky corporate earnings combined to send investors into a sell now mode. The Dow was down more than 225 points today. NASDAQ lost a little more than 65 points. I'll be right back with the latest on rescues from the flooded Southeast. All of God's creatures.
Raisin Bran, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? That Raisin Bran has less than half your folic acid for the day. Even less of your zinc.
That's a weenie breakfast, Frank.
There's almost no vitamin E at all. Looks like you need Total Raisin Bran. Just one bowl gives you 100% of 10 important vitamins and minerals you need for the day. No other Raisin Bran comes close.
Attaboy, Frank.
And there's room for my spoon.
Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. What are you getting for breakfast?
Shannon Sharp, please. Has always talking trash.
You're paying, baby.
He's always trying to get inside your head.
Freehorn, you don't know your elbows from your...
And sometimes, he can get downright nasty.
I bet you pay transaction fees on your mutual funds. Your mama pays full commission. You know how to calculate a P/E ratio?
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
How diversified is your portfolio?
we created a smarter kind of investor.
You can't even spell Dow Jones. Okay, guys, let's get this right. To calculate a P/E ratio, you divide the stock price.
If you had to be stranded on a deserted island with just one other person, who would it be? A boat builder? Or a survival expert? Perhaps a fisherman? Or would it just be someone who looks really good in a swimsuit? Introducing the all-new 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse. nicely equipped at 17.7. There are more sensible choices, but who cares?
Nobody does it like you.
Boy, they love to play horsey. So your carpet better be deep down clean. And for that, you need Hoover. Hey, you want the best, partner? Introducing the Hoover Steam Vac Wide Path. It sends hot water surging through 6 rotating brushes to stir up and pull out deep down dirt the way no other carpet cleaner can.
Hoover!
If you want clean, deep down, you want Hoover.
My dentures always fit fine. I never thought of them as a problem until I saw the video of my son's wedding. It was then that I decided to try Fixodent.
Because Fixodent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
It was like a whole new feeling, so snug and secure. For once, I actually forgot that I even wore dentures. So now, I like what I see.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fixodent and forget it.
They're always in the headlines, and now there's a show that's as bold as they are.
Headliners and Legends with Matt Lauer premieres Monday on MSNBC.
CNBC's Maria Bartiromo brings what she heard on the floor to Street Signs. Then Ron and Sana takes you to the closing bell. Street Signs, weekdays at CNBC.
That massive flooding in North Carolina is tough enough on the people of that state, but then think about the animals, the pets, and the livestock. That's a whole different kind of victim. Here's NBC's Bob Dotson.
You want to go home, huh?
Man's best friend needs a friend today.
Come on.
This one is named Warren Sawyer.
Yeah, we're going to get you.
All across the flooded area, hundreds have volunteered to rescue lost pets.
There you go. But you can't leave a dog on a housetop surrounded by water.
Or a kitten on a chimney. Or a fox on a boat.
Lots and lots of fiddler crabs.
Oh, another newt. 5 days after the hurricane, the flood it left behind is carrying pets and wildlife into areas they've never been before.
Alligators are showing up in towns, actually, just gliding down streets because it's a corridor of water.
One bit of delayed misery in all this, a bumper crop of mosquitoes 3 years from now. The floods are sweeping billions of eggs into places where they won't hatch until then. Meanwhile, Hurricane Floyd's high water has drowned 100,000 hogs, nearly 2.5 million chickens, 500,000 turkeys. Farm losses could exceed $1 billion. By far, North Carolina's worst ever. Today, the Humane Society shuttling farmers back to feed livestock cut off in the floods. Jimmy Shackelford's horse and cows have been standing in knee-deep water on this porch for 4 days.
See how pale he is? There's no capillary reflex at all.
Shackelford worries that clean water and fresh hay may not be enough to save them.
He's going to get tired. He's going to get hypothermic.
The animals are cold, starving. They need to be rescued now. But the boat is too small. The rescuers tear off a piece of a porch for a makeshift boat. Then coax the animals aboard. Gently, patiently, and finally float away on what was, until 5 days ago, Highway 53. Bob Dotson, NBC News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
That's how it is for Tuesday. Don't forget Dateline tonight at 10, 9 Central. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world. From KGW, where the news comes first. This is Northwest News Channel 8 at 6.
Breaking news in North Portland tonight, a shooting involving police as officers responded to a domestic dispute. Good evening, I'm Joe Donlin, in tonight for Tracy Berry.
Hello, I'm Carol Jensen. Thank you for joining us tonight. This breaking news is our top story this evening. News Channel 8's Pat Doris is standing by live. He is in Sky 8. He's over the St. John's neighborhood with more. Pat?
Carol, let's show you what's going on down below here in Sky 8. This all happened about 5:35. Police still on the scene. The address 10228 North Midway. Police were called to a family disturbance. We're told that when they arrived, one person was shot, not a police officer. but it is a...
Doris Kearns Goodwin and Michael Beschloss.